Good morning, guys. It's been a while, and I can tell that because I can't set the camera up probably. So, yeah, it's been a while. I've been really busy with work, like I said in the last video, which is why I'm not taking any other clients on or like actively seeking clients. If someone comes to me, we can have a conversation, we can see what we can fit in. But the reason being is I'm doing a master's on the side of my normal day job, and that's just taking its toll on me at the moment. It will be now until September when I finish the master's side of it, and then I'll be able to do a lot more, put a lot more time into the coaching side of things. And alongside that, I absolutely ruined my back last week. It was during a hip press. So in the past, I've had problems when I do deadlifts, during a diet for some reason. It's not even like the harder reps, it'll just go at some point during the eccentric, my lower left back, I'll feel a pop and it'll just go and it'll get really tight. Sometimes it will last a week, sometimes it will last for months. This time wasn't a deadlift, it was the new hip press that I just introduced. I don't know why, didn't feel like any pressure on my back before it. It was the last rep this time of the final set, and maybe it was the seatbelt I was wearing, but I felt a pop last minute during the actual set. And it's one of them where it doesn't hurt straight away, but you know what's coming. And then over the next 5 minutes, it was quite quick, it got really bad. The next day I tried to train. I don't know why, because I couldn't stand. I got like 2,000 steps in the next day because I couldn't walk, I couldn't stand up straight. But I still tried to train as you do. I thought, oh, it's upper body, I'll give it a go. And I couldn't do much. I could do some like arms and delt work, but I could sit upright on a bench or I could lie flat. But even when I lay flat, I couldn't curve my spine to get any chest work done. Any incline work was just off the table. So basically, that wasn't really a session. The following day was another rest day, and I got a few more thousand steps in. And then because I took it easy for that like 2 days of steps, obviously no cardio. By Saturday it was legs, and obviously I couldn't, like on the leg press, I did get a leg press set done. I couldn't go all the way down because I couldn't like afford to risk any sort of hip rise. But it was a decent session, and then by the Sunday it was pretty good. And by the next week it was really good. So touch wood, it was only a week-long back injury, and it feels okay at the moment. I also, this is how old I'm getting, this is what happens when you turn 30. I've also, the back of my foot, my tendon, my Achilles tendon I think it is, on the right side of my, on the right side of my right foot, it's really low down the heel, so I don't know if it is the Achilles tendon. From walking too much on the treadmill in the gym, it's now like giving me an overuse injury, so I can't really, what's the word? You know, like if you kind of stretch your hamstring, you bend down, you try and put stretch on that hamstring, or even like on a hamstring curl, I can't keep my feet up because it really hurts that tendon. So that's annoying, but I'm still doing my steps. I'm still getting leg training in. I've just got to be careful on like a leg press and that when I usually have a bit of heel elevation because my ankles, I like a good bend to get a lot of quad stimulus. So I've just got to be careful with that. But during the exercise, it feels great. It's usually afterwards or during steps, especially uphill walking, that's really bad. But that's a really long update on why I've not been recording. So today marks the final day of week 6 of the diet. I've noticed that I stuck to my diet and everything during the actual like injuries, but I obviously couldn't do as much training or steps. The last few days, I've dropped weight quite fast. I've gone from 183 like daily weigh-ins to 180 to high 179s. And obviously all the stress last week. So what I've done is I've implemented a refeed day yesterday and today, so back-to-back refeed day, which I wouldn't usually do in a mini cut. I say just get it out of the way. But weight loss is going really fast at the moment, and weight loss symptoms are starting to kick in a little bit, which I don't want during a mini cut. So even though I wouldn't usually recommend it in a mini cut, that's why I'm having one. And with the extra work stress and just the high fatigue, it would just be nice to wash off some of that. And it's worked well. So yesterday I was 180.4, like I said. There's a low weigh-in by quite a bit. And then today, after the first day of the refeed, I woke up at 179.9, so half a pound lost. You tend to find that in the diet. If you have a refeed and you're not ready for it, you'll gain weight because of the extra carbs, extra glycogen, especially early on. But later on, as you start needing the refeeds, that fatigue wash off will like outweigh the actual weight gain. You end up losing weight, if that makes sense. So back-to-back refeed. I'm 180, like I said. I started the diet at 195 pounds, so 6 weeks, 15 pounds from highest to lowest. The average is probably about 13 pounds, 14 pounds across and obviously the initial like glycogen loss as well. So a good rate of loss, about 1.5 2 pounds a week for the last few weeks, and quite a bit higher than that for the first few weeks. So the refeed is an extra 1,500 calories split across yesterday and today, mainly in the form of carbs. Fat will go up a little bit. I know some people bring it down. My fats are quite low anyway, so I just like to keep my normal fats in, and the extra trace fats from the carbs kind of increase it. And the protein I've put down from 200 because obviously carbs are protein sparing. So an extra 750 calories a day, which is quite nice. It's not loads, but it's enough. But like I said, I could lose the weight quicker, but I'm enjoying it being a breeze. I can't afford to have any impact on my work, and it was starting to towards the end of like last week. So that's why I've got the refeeds in place now. As for today, I've woken up and hydrated, and then my supplements you'll see somewhere here as well. Just literally the basics: omega-3, vitamin C, vitamin D and K, and then a multivitamin. That's all I have, and then creatine as well. But I have that with my intra workout. I also have my coffee, which as the diet progresses, I'm loving more and more and more. You always find it in a diet, you just start loving like the subtleties in coffee because your taste buds are so like hypersensitive to palatability. And then I've also boxed off about 4,000 of my 12,000 steps. And yeah, my steps are on 12,000 a day. Cardio's 2 times 20 a week. So I'm not going to increase either of them anymore. Any more steps takes away from it's just too much time for me basically. And any more cardio takes away from my training a bit too much, and it gives me too much fatigue. So I'd rather just slow the rate of loss down. I've got another 5 to 7 pounds that I want to lose. So I'll probably give myself like 4 more weeks. I could do it in 3 or 2. Well, 3, but no, I'll do it in 4. I'll just enjoy it. I'll have the refeeds when I need to. I've had social events. But yeah, catch you guys with meal number 1. So guys, meal number 1. On a weekday, obviously I train first thing, so like my meal 1's like a snack, like a banana and a shake. Whereas today on a weekend, I have a bit more time, I have a full meal for meal number 1, and it's still my pre-workout meal. So it's exactly the same as what it normally is on a weekend, which is cream of rice, oat mix. This one is the like caramel chocolate cream of rice from CMP, and then the protein powder on top is a chocolate or the chocolate Nutella, however it's called from before. It's a nice mix. With that I have my frozen raspberries, which I have on the side now, because honestly, it's just not very nice when it's mixed with the cream of rice, chocolate and raspberry for me. I don't like, do what you want. I'm just, not as crazy as some of you guys. And then the only difference is for the high day, I've got a piece of sourdough toast with, sourdough bread that I've toasted with 20 grams of raspberry jam because any of the flavours are weird. Normally I have 5 meals. One of them is literally just a whey shake or a creamy, so it's like 50 grams of whey and that's it. And then another meal is usually quite small. On a refeed day, because the protein's lower, I just have 4 meals instead. So this one, I'll have post-workout, obviously after the workout, and then I'll have one with Faye, which I always do, and then I have my pre-bed oats, of course. But yeah, I'm going to have this, and then it's my niece's 10th birthday, so I'll go and see her for a bit, and then yeah, I'll go and train. I might film it today, actually. Yeah, I will film it today, actually. So it's push and arms today, but there's been there's quite a few new pieces of equipment in the gym, a lot of prime pieces, so a lot of the workouts changed to accommodate for that, because why wouldn't you? It's prime. So I'll record the workout and go over that afterwards. But yeah, catch you guys in a bit. So guys, we've not actually heard from my sister. I was going to go and see my niece for her birthday before the gym, because she told me yesterday she's going out at 12 o'clock. But I've messaged her seeing if she's free now, and she's not replied. So me and Faye are going for a walk instead. Say hi, Faye. Hi. Yesterday we went out for a place called Enquiries. So those of you local know what it is. It's like an American diner.
Oh, so nice.
It's very, very nice. It's for my niece's birthday, and I think I've got a picture actually. I put a picture here of what I had. It was basically a chicken and beef burger called the Bird and the Beast burger, believe it or not. I swapped the chips out for beans, and the beans also had like a bit of barbecue pulled pork and no barbecue flavour. They were really nice. They're only like 100 calories. The menu's got the macronutrient breakdown on it, which is really, really handy. Well, it does online anyway. The menu's just got the calories. But obviously I could have had chips. It was meant to come with chips, or skin on fries as they call it. But it was like an extra 500. Well, it's 500 calories for the chips, or 600 calories for the chips, and 110 for the beans. When you go out for meals in an off season, do what you want. Just, at the end of the day, as long as you know what the repercussions are, do whatever you want in the diet as well. For me, it wasn't worth the extra chips. I'd rather have had the extra refeed today from the carbs. I'd rather just kind of pick my battles. So always pick your battles. The burger alone with the beans, if they had that coleslaw that you can see on top, the burger alone was 1,100 calories, and the beans were like an extra 110.
You say it like that was all I had and that was my meal.
Faye had just a coleslaw.
I just had some coleslaw.
No, Faye had a sea bass actually. I was really jealous. She had sea bass, but I had shrimp on it, and I hate shrimp or prawns. Yeah, so pick your battles. So I could have had a normal meal, which was like 1,700, 1,600 calories, and the burger's the best bit. Like the chips are nice, and they're nicer than the beans, don't get me wrong, but they're not like 600 or 500 calories better than the beans when you're dieting. I'd rather have, if I had the extra calories, I'd rather have gotten a bit of a dessert. I didn't have the extra calories, and no one else got dessert anyway, so it just means I can have a refeed today instead of having loads of food yesterday. So pick your battles, enjoy your food. Like I said, if you're dieting, if you're not prepping, you're dieting, and you want to go all out and have a full-on like binge, go nuts, like do what you want, but just know that them calories have been eaten, so you're still going to have to find a way to reduce them calories afterwards or before, or take longer during your diet. So yeah, do whatever you want. So just after that last clip, Faye called my sister just to see what they're doing, and they were up. So we went to go and see my niece for her birthday, so that's very nice. She got her present off us. That's all she really cares about, and they're showing us a new phone. But do you have a phone at 10 years old?
God, no.
God, it's crazy.
I got my first flip phone when I was 11, so I could call mum from school.
Yeah, I remember my flip phone.
Yeah.
Mine's old. Mine has a snake on it. That's old. I think that's like 12. But again, only because I phoned my mum from the park. But I suppose she's got a newer phone than us now. Anyway, so we did that, went for a little walk. I'm on the way to the gym. I'll drop Faye off at home first, of course, because she can't train still because of her injuries. So she's had a lovely 2 years, haven't you?
I have indeed.
We've got a scoop of defib, which I wouldn't usually have for a push day, so I felt, I don't know what, I was proper cheeky having that. Bit slutty if you ask me, but you literally, usually for a push day, I have like 100, 150 milligrams of caffeine and then some sort of pump product. I haven't got any pump product. I probably won't buy any more pump product, it's not worth it. I just fancy something a bit stronger. I feel good today, so why not overstim myself and feel shit later. Because it's been a couple of hours since I've last eaten, I have a squares bar. Do I need this before I train? Absolutely not. I also have lots of carbs in my system after a small 20-minute walk, but I've got higher food, so I can get away with this, and I want it. And then I've got 40 grams of intra-workout instead of the usual 25, which you probably won't see. So yeah, like I said, I wasn't going to record the session, but there's a few new pieces of kit, which are pretty cool in the gym, lots of prime pieces. So I'll record as much as I can, depends how busy it is, and then I'll catch you guys probably on a voiceover on the way home. So guys, oh, that camera's going to keep shaking now, isn't it? I'm finished with the workout now. I'll put like an overlay like I usually do in the background while I'm talking to you. It was a really good session, and obviously the carbs haven't really had time to assimilate, so it's not just the carbs. Whether they maybe just feel a bit better, or whether it was that defib that I had instead of a normal amount of caffeine. It's a good workout. Obviously a lot of new movements. I'll talk you through the whole thing. So the first thing was a preacher curl, which replaced a just standing cable curl. So it was 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps. All my exercises and all my sets are always to failure, or muscular failure, mechanical failure. So it was 3 sets of 10 to 15, but I don't really care if I fail outside of that. If I get 8 reps, I'm not going to swing it until I get 10. And likewise, if I get 15 reps, I'm not going to stop the set if I've got another 3 or 4 in me. So I just kind of aim for that and then just kind of fail where I need to fail, and then next time I'll kind of change a load to try and land within that rep range, because that's the rep range where I feel best in. So when people say what rep range is best, what's best for you? If I did a bicep curl for 5 reps, it would just be horrendous mind muscle connection. It'd be a lot of swinging. Likewise, if I did it for 20, 30 reps, I'd fail because the pump was too big, as opposed to the actual muscle starting to fail, if that makes sense. So that's why I did that. I loaded it mainly in the first set was all pretty much in the mid, so the plates were all in the middle of the pins for the prime pieces of kit. And then towards the end of the set, I changed the loading just to match the resistance profile of the muscle. As I got like more fatigued, as the sets went on, I'd load more of that length and range, because that makes sense. So when you're loading the prime kit or any exercise, I think some strive kit does it as well. When you're loading it or you're choosing your resistance profile, just go for one where you can get good quality reps and the resistance feels the same throughout the movement. So if you're loading it all in the short, you'll just realise you're getting like 20 partials at the end of the set. The next exercise you'd already seen was the lateral raise. Again, this set here, I noticed that I wasn't getting fully short at the top, and I thought I was, and I thought I was going too high, but obviously watching it back I wasn't, and that's the benefit of recording your sets. I like to keep my arms straight. I find that if I'm holding this, it doesn't feel natural for me, so just keep your arms straight, let the arm path feel more natural for yourself. Will I keep it in? I probably will. It's better than the other machine I was doing, but on my other upper day, I'll just stick to cuffed laterals. Then I moved on to the fly. It was a really, really good fly. It probably was one of the best flies I've used. Again, I'm just all the exercises matching the resistance profiles. I only do 2 sets of the fly with a brief pause in the stretch. I do it to failure, even though it's a push day and I've got compounds coming up, because I don't really find that it takes away from the compounds. If anything, it activates my chest, so my chest then fails during the compounds. It just feels better for the rest of the session. So I'm bodybuilding. I'm not trying to get as strong as possible. Obviously, it's a good byproduct, but my goal is to target the muscle and stimulate it as much as possible with the minimal fatigue. So if I can do that by loading a pec deck before going onto a press, then I will. And then I move on to my compounds, which started off with a incline press here. I forgot the name of the make. Is it Nitrum? I don't think it is. I forgot the name of the make. It's a very, very good incline press. I think it's Flex. It's one of the best I've ever used, but it's very heavy in the length end. So I wouldn't if for clients, I'd say try it towards the end of the compounds in the session. But I get on with it really well early in the session. I find that I can fail in a good spot. This set here was a bit too heavy, so my back off set I went more for like a 10 to 15 repper. But I just like it here, so that's why I did it earlier on. Is it ideal? Probably not, but I like it. So the next compound was it's a new one. It's a prime, not Smith press. It replaced the Smith press. It's a prime press. It was a really good exercise. I really like that. Did 1 set in the mid and 1 set number 5, which is mid length and range. I'll probably play around with that a little bit. And I don't like that your hips kind of come up, because there's nothing holding them down. You can't put your feet further back. But besides that, it was a really good press. I do worry that I'll probably max out the stack soon enough. I'm already close and I'm dieting, and I did like 10 plus reps or 9 plus reps. But you can't use a gym pin in my gym, so we'll see. I'll keep it in for as long as I can. And then my last exercise was the prime dip. Again, this set was a bit too heavy, but it felt good. On the next set, I made up for it. I did a little pause in the stretch on this prime dip. And that's a good example, actually. By the time I did the prime dip, the first set was number 5, and the second set was number 3. So it was almost all lengthened. Well, like the last set was all lengthened because my chest is knackered by that point. And then I moved on to my isolations, which I didn't record much of. It was just 2 exercises for the triceps, 1 exercise for the biceps, because I already did one earlier on. For the biceps, I tried to do that prime preacher curl again, but single arm, and it's a very, very heavy machine for single arm. I did like 10 kilos for like just over 10 reps, which was towards the end of my session, but that's quite embarrassing. But it's a heavy machine, I'll blame that. And then the triceps, I did a standing tricep extension using the easy bar, because I prefer it over cables. I just find get more loading and just more focus on the triceps. And a overhead, I did dumbbell extension today. Usually I did the machine, like standing overhead extension, but I fancy something different. So that's a long drawn out version of what I did. Total sets, I don't know. Chest, 2 sets of fly, 2 sets of press, 2 sets of other press, 2 sets of third press, and that was it. And then triceps, I don't really count the dip as triceps. So the triceps, I did 5 sets in total, 2 exercises, split across them both. Biceps, 6 sets. Biceps, I would do more volume because I can get away with it, but I've got pull tomorrow, and with my pull, I don't train biceps, but obviously my biceps, I don't want them to be too tired because I'm training back. I do back and hams and adductors tomorrow. It's like a density day, like all my posterior chain. But that's my whole session. Because I'm already here, my next meal is a yogurt meal, which you'll see here. It's basically the same as the skier bowl that I usually have, just with a little bit more oats. I've got dates, which I don't usually have. And then if I have rice cakes or something or extra fruit on the side, you'll see it in the picture. So guys, with that last meal, I decided to have the sourdough. 4th meal now, no, 3rd meal, sorry, is the one I have with Faye. Got broccoli, homemade chips with a bit of olive oil on top, well, cooked in, and then gammon. Gammon obviously isn't as healthy as anything from a cow. It's not as healthy as chicken either, because gammon is like cured after all. But having it once in a blue moon really won't hurt. Me and Faye have it like once every couple of weeks, once a week. The downside to gammon, which you don't have with chicken and beef, is there's a lot more salt in it, so you will be heavier the next day. So just consider that when you're dieting. But yeah, we're going to watch the rest of White Lotus, which is the new series, which is quite good, quite worth a watch. And then I don't know what we're going to watch. Maybe a South Park movie. We'll see. But I'll catch you guys in meal number 4. And just like that, guys, it's the final meal. That gammon meal was very nice. We usually get the one that you saw then, which is I think honey sauce on the top. Can't remember off the top of my head. One we got last time by mistake was like a mustard one, and it was really gross. So the difference is night and day. So if you're going to get it, get the one with like a sweet dressing. The macros that you've already seen for that anyway. I will probably, like I said before, weigh in about an extra £1 or £2 heavier tomorrow. I usually do after a gammon meal. But as long as you accept that and you take it into account when you deal with the averages, that sort of thing, then yeah, it's not really a big deal. It's just water weight. The last meal is now in the microwave. I will show you like the finished product here. It's oats. All the macros that will be here. Obviously it's a bit more than I would normally. I have 5 times like substance with water, so I think it's 100 grams. Again, the macros are here of like cream of rice and oats mixed together. So I have 500 ml of water. So I have 500 ml of water. If I have any more than that, the consistency isn't very nice. But as always, the totals are here. So slightly higher on carbs, slightly lower on fat than I plan to. I plan to have 450 carb and 60 fat. So if anything, it's better because I want like 60 grams of fat max and then like a calorie target. So it fell well within that. I've already got my banana and my morning hydration ready for tomorrow. And then I'll have that banana with like a protein shake on the side, or like a mug cake that I'll make in a cup, just for pre-workout, because I train first thing in the morning. And then with the oats, I also have the best form to have with oats is that. The dark chocolate I have, if I show you here, amongst the pet's food, is the absolute black buttons. On their own, they're gross, but with something, 100% dark chocolate is really, really nice. It's quite bitter, so with anything whey, it works really well. And that's it. That's it for the video. Like I said, it's not the most exciting, but I thought I'd show you what I did on a refeed day. But yeah, any questions, leave them in the comments below. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next one.